Heather, how are you?
2 days after Christmas this year, my husband had emergency surgery and had a tumor about the size of a baseball removed from his colon.
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer.
Okay.
And we have 3 children. The youngest is 12, and he is autistic. And we are trying to navigate how much we let him know about the situation as far as how dire it is.
Okay.
Because I don't want to wreck his life.
Yep.
But we are fully expecting a complete recovery. We have no reason to think that his dad is not going to completely recover.
Sure.
But he's going to get very sick when chemo starts in a couple of weeks, and we're just not sure exactly how much we need to let him know.
So give me number one, God bless you, dude. I hate that for you. That's not a Christmas anyone needed in 2020, for God's sakes, and navigating.
Well, it was a 2020 Christmas. Let me just say.
Jeez, man. I know, but still, that just is not great, and I'm sorry that happened to you. How old are your other kids?
23 and 18.
How are they doing?
Don't laugh. It seemed like a good idea at the time. The 23-year-old, my daughter, has really stepped up. I spent the entire week in the hospital with my husband because half the floor had been turned into a COVID ward, and so they were extremely short-staffed because they had to pull their normal staff to just do COVID stuff. So what we really tried to do is make it seem like a big slumber party. So we had friends that sent pizzas. They went downstairs to my daughter's apartment and played video games. And so she is handling things the way she knows how to do, which is taking care of little details.
Good for her.
The 18-year-old, we get to talk when we go out to walk the dogs, and he expresses his concerns in his oblique way.
Right.
He's managing as well as can be expected.
I tell you what, man, you are a saint, and you just help millions and millions of people across the country with that one statement. You want to help your late teens, early 20s kids deal with challenges that show up when grandma or grandpa dies, when mom and dad get sick. Get a dog and take walks every day. And
it is the most healing thing for all of us.
You get to move your body. You get to be in nature. You get to have a relationship. And the same way little kids, you play with them on the floor. You just walk with teenagers, and they don't have to make eye contact with you, but they will slowly start talking to you. Good for you. All right. Yep. So give me a quick rundown. What's the functioning level of your 12-year-old? High functioning, medium? It's hard to say high functioning or low functioning because he has his strengths and his weaknesses. Okay.
He has very good social skills.
Great.
He is a great student. He has anxiety in a way that his brain misinterprets ordinary signals, misfires, and can send him into a panic attack, which we didn't realize for years. An example was when he was 5 and we went trick-or-treating, and the wind was blowing, and he freaked out and was screaming in the middle of the street that we were all going to die.
Right. Okay. So he's got some hypersensitivity, right?
He does.
Okay.
He does.
All right. So 12 years old, I'm going to tell you a story about a guy. He is a good friend of mine. His name's Mark Charney, Dr. Charney. And he is, of all things, a savant. He's He's the chair of a theater and art department and dance department at a university. And I had a ringside seat to watching him partner in one of the most unique things I've ever seen. They partnered with the Autism Center of the university. And what they did was they connected theater students to these autistic college students. And the autistic college students, some of them were very high functioning. Some of them were not high functioning socially, but they were very good, right, with remembering facts. Some were hypersensitive, like the sensations were over alarming, right? And what they did was they worked with them and they put on a play. And what was so magic about the play is these young kids with autism did not know how to properly perceive and feel their own feelings, but they were able to learn this character is going to feel like this. What does that look like? Make me a sad face. Make me a happy face. And over the arc of this play, it's one of the hardest I've ever wept watching theater. I'm going to get choked up here talking about it. I watched these kids with autism inhabit other people because they were inhabiting the facts of these other people. And part of the facts was learning these emotions, learning these feelings, and learning these pains. And then when you circled back, the kids with autism said, I now have a new language for how I feel. And so what I would start with is, and you may say this, it may not work exactly with your kid. I think you're still going to be okay. You're not going to hurt anything. I would go find children's books. Just go to Amazon and get 3 or 4 children's books like they would tell a 5th grader or a 6th grader. And there's going to be a book called Mommy Got Cancer or Daddy's Really Sick. And the way kids learn, right, is through play and through children's literature like that. And I would buy 4 or 5 of those books, and then I would go through them and see if any of those are going to identify with your son. And then what I'd have him do is read them to you. And as you read them, I want you to speak out loud, imagine what this would feel like. And so what we're trying to do is to show him into this story, and then you're going to give him pictures, because the book's going to give you illustrated pictures of a dad in a hospital, of a mom in a hospital, maybe a dad losing his hair. And he's going to get a picture of it. What an autistic kid often struggles with is the outcome. They don't have the sometimes they haven't learned, or they don't have the capacity to imagine or picture. And so all the alarms set off at the same time, right?
Precisely.
And so what this is going to give him is a picture of. And it may be, if you want to do something magic, it may be a partnership with your 23-year-old kid and your 18-year-old kid and your 12-year-old kid that y'all make up some sort of play. And in your home, and you're going to perform it, and you can even tell them, y'all have to do this play for me and your dad. And through that, it's going to talk about somebody overcoming something difficult. The play is going to be a wreck. It won't be good. Everyone will be dying, laughing, and crying at the same time. But it will be a way to bring your family together. And on the back end of this, you'll never forget it. And then through that narrative, when you slowly start to see where your son's eyes widen, and he goes, wow, that's the entryway to have this story. Daddy might look like this because Daddy's really sick too. And Daddy he's going to get really skinny also. And you're going to see the painful faces in those books. You're going to see the smiling faces in the book. And the whole time, I want you to never let go of his hand when you're reading these books. He's not going to probably realize it, but what you're doing is you are telling that little oversensitive amygdala, it's okay. And I'm not saying this is going to heal it all. That's, if I have a 12-year-old son with autism, that's exactly where I start. And I saw a profound shift in a way with autistic young men and women that I had never seen before. I know there's a lot of autism scientists that clued in on this partnership and were all over it from a research perspective because they saw an awakening that they had never seen before. But where I'm starting is with children's literature, through story, through narrative, and I'm also giving him that connection because I'm going to hold his hand through this entire thing. And if we can get 18-year-old brother to sit on his bed on the other side, that's even better because I want him to feel surrounded and safe as we go through this hard place. Let me know how that goes, and we will be thinking about your husband. And we're going to expect a full recovery. He's going to be better. He's going to get there. And again, thank you for being a mom who loves her kids and is doing what she can to ask the right questions and walk through this together. And you, Heather, make sure you got people in your life that you can lean on because you're going to need a place to cry. You're going to be propping up kids and dogs and husband, and I want you to have a place where you can get propped up too. Thank you so much for that call.